What are the best strategies to unlock value from your integration of marketing automation with CRM automation? Again, what are the best strategies to unlock value from the integration of marketing automation with CRM automation? This is one of my favorite types of questions. It's the intersection where marketing automation and CRM automation collide, which is becoming more and more integrated with the new CRMs that are coming out on the market. With today's products, the piping is all laid out for you. So all you have to do is make sure you have a very good understanding of your prospect's experience through your funnel and trigger the appropriate actions, emails, updates in your CRM throughout that process. Krish will explain more, but I recommend these steps if you're in this stage where you're trying to figure out how to strategically work between your marketing automation and your CRM. Now, the first thing you want to do is define your prospect to customer, the statuses in your CRM. So what is a lead? What is a prospect? What does nurturing mean? What does a customer mean? These can change. You can customize these to fit your company's situation and your prospect flow. So define those, put them into a sheet, put them somewhere where everybody knows what each one of those means. That's the sales nomenclature doc, whatever you want to call it. Second, you want to design your user journey map. And I'm going to show one on screen that I really like. It's a good visual. It shows kind of where all the touch points happen at each step. And what you need to do is go ahead and map out your customer journey, show the flow, each touch point in your sales and marketing process, because then the next step is to go ahead and map out the communications. When does that first onboarding email go out, and the second one, et cetera, et cetera. If they are churning, they haven't engaged with your application in a few weeks, and you want to send an anti-churn campaign, map that all out, put it into a document. There are programs and systems and tools that help you do this, but you definitely want to map that out, show all the steps and the messages that are necessary along the way. Finally, take a good look at your current and future marketing stack. What are you built on now that has to remain? What chat software, what analytics, and what will you spin up soon? What do you have plans to add on? Maybe document signing, maybe some sort of an accounting or back end. And once you have the requirements, what you have now and what you will have soon, then you can look at what CRMs really integrate well with the system. And if you're at the beginning stages, this is much easier for you than if you have been running a while and maybe you have a ton of data in the CRM. You've been using this old chat that's no longer supported, and maybe you're switching accounting and back-end software. It becomes a little more challenging. But if you are laying this out for the first time, I like to present the suggestion of look at the forward-facing communications and customer interaction marketing stack first. This could be your chat software. Look at that and say, okay, well, if this is going to be the way we communicate with customers, then we need a CRM and a backend that kind of work really well with that software. So that's the way I like to look at it. But either way, you want to map out your customer journeys, where communication happens and needs to happen at each step. Look at your current marketing stack, and then go ahead and look at what you need on the CRM side that fits in well with that whole system and gives you everything that you need. Okay, Krish, what are your recommendations for listeners or viewers to unlock value from their marketing automations on top of their CRM?
So now that we've gotten all this data into your CRM and ideally into your marketing automation system, what is the value of capturing all this data? Right? Most people think that it's just to let their boss feel in charge and know that they have the information. But in reality, this information is going to be pivotal when you look at the entire customer journey as a whole. If you want to actually do consultative selling, if you don't want to be spamming people with random emails like, hey, I'm just following up on X, Y, and Z, if you want to really provide value, you want to try to understand as much about the customer as possible. That's why you're doing these discovery calls in the first place, and trying to get all this information from them when they're filling out these forms and using these other tools to enrich information. There's also this information, for example, that I use when I'm having a call with folks and they talk about certain topics or important pieces of information. Then I can start filling out my marketing automation system with certain tags. For example, if we know that someone is using a particular type of CRM or they're using a particular type of web conferencing system, those details are captured on the call. They're created into tags and they're filled up in our marketing automation system. And then I'm able to send very targeted, specified emails afterwards. So instead of saying, hey, I'm just following up, did you get a chance to look at the invoice? I'm able to send information like, hey, you told me that you were using Zoom. Here were some of the 6 other folks that were using Zoom. And these were some of the things that they were using with Fireflies. And so these are the sort of benefits of really creating a tailored customer experience. Because when it comes down to it, all this data is going to be able to help you with one thing, and that's personalization. And we use tools like Zapier and Segment to start also helping the customers get a better journey when they visit our website. So if I had a discovery call and I've learned all this information about them, and now that information is flowing into my marketing automation system and Segment, next time a visitor visits our website, I don't have to give them a static page. I can show them, I can highlight different things that were relevant to the conversation that we had. So there's so much gold inside these customer conversations that I can now use that data to start tailoring the message that I send them, tailoring the collateral that they get to view, even the website that they're seeing. And this helps you stand above the noise, because there are going to be 100 other reps. There's going to be 100 other companies sending the same sort of follow-up emails that end up getting moved to the trash can. And this is both pre-sales as well as post-sales, or once you're into the deal. And that's where we're seeing that getting to personalization at scale is only possible when you have all this data. But once you have all this data, you need to be able to learning to orchestrate it in the right way. And, it doesn't stop there, right? And we're just talking about systems. But at the end of the day, if I'm a rep and I'm handing this deal over to customer success and they're about to get on a kickoff call, I don't want my customer success manager to be asking the same questions that I had asked like for the past 3 meetings. That's just a bad customer experience. Aligning the entire team around what these customers are saying and having the context to be able to say, hey, I know you. I'm not just going through some script. I'm not just being monotonous. I understand the team knows what you guys had discussed in your previous calls. That makes handoffs so much easier. It makes the customers respect you. And for managers, you can start using this information to see what is working on deals, right? Like what is being said that's resonating with customers and prospects, which deals require more management. So I have a thing set up in Slack where if competitors are mentioned or certain topics are mentioned in some of my reps calls, I get a notification. And instead of me having to sit and listen to the entire call, I know which deals that I need to focus on with my reps. So there's this whole orchestration and management piece on top of it, because now you have all this data that you can start unlocking. And to do this, companies are getting much more technical. They're getting much more sophisticated. I just talked about call data as a source, right, for what we're doing. But in order to orchestrate and make a lot of this happen, we use tools like Zapier and Segment. We're using tools like Clearbit and Full Contact to start enriching and getting more information. We look at data like, how many emails were sent, how many calls were actually picked up, and all this information I need to track in one place, obviously, right? That's where I'm going to work. It's in my CRM, and I might be getting notifications in Slack. So that's where bringing all this data into one workflow as well. And then from this, I can start pushing it to other information and other systems where we start doing outreach. Maybe Intercom, they start getting a personalized message after they've used the product for 3 times. So these are all the things that we think about in terms of proactive, tailored messaging that you can start doing and personalization at scale. And from a customer's point of view, all this data is really helping create a better customer experience overall.
Great points. Now, let's move right into the final discussion question about CRMs. Why do most CRMs fail? This